it's Geraldine. Today we're going to go through all the records I added to my collection this past 2024. So around me I have some massive stacks of records, which is kind of crazy because last year I did not get as many records as I did previous years. So this video isn't going to go too much in depth into each record. I'm just going to sort of go through them because it's a lot. But first, I wanted to say that 99% of these records, I got them secondhand. Like, I go to thrift stores all the time. Every single weekend, I go to garage sales, yard sales, and stuff like that, like, without a miss. So 99% of all these records are from there, which I really like doing. It's a lot of fun seeing what you can find. And also, the records I like collecting the most are from the 80s. I love 80s new wave, so I try to, like, look out for those. But this year I did not get too many of those. I actually got stuff from different genres and from different decades, so I'm excited to share with you. I also did pick up a whole bunch of stuff that seemed interesting or I wanted to get into, so let's go through them. So first, we're gonna start off with a massive stack of records I got at Goodwill. I got these records different time periods throughout the year, so I did not get these all in one sitting. And I'm actually surprised I got this many because I rarely find any good records at Goodwill. It's always like the same junk that's always there. So this first stack I remember getting at the beginning of the year, and I was super duper surprised to come across these records because I hadn't found anything at Goodwill for like the past 6 months. The first record I found was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers self-titled, which was great because I did not have any Tom Petty in my collection at all, so I'm super happy with this find. I found more Tom Petty. I got You're Gonna Get It. I found another Tom Petty album. I got Damn the Torpedoes. And then this one was super duper crazy. I never expected to find a Modest Mouse record at Goodwill. So all of my favorite bands are from the 80s, but a band that is more recent times that I really love and is one of my favorites is Modest Mouse. So I can't believe I found The Moon and Antarctica. So super duper find. And then I got a Chinese Wall by Philip Bailey. This is actually a second copy I picked up because this is a better copy than the copy I previously owned. So I was very happy with these finds. And now, like, some weeks or months later, I went to Goodwill and I found this stack of records. I found The Byrds' Greatest Hits. I found Mark Almond 2. I found Ricky Lee Jones' self-titled album, and I found Jackson Browne For Every Man. Then randomly, one day at Goodwill, I saw them pull out these carts of records, but most of them were not interesting, except this one. I primarily picked it up for the album cover because it looked very interesting. So this is Pacific Gas and Electric, their album Are You Ready? And it literally came like this in the sleeve, and it had like the inner sleeve outside of the record, so whoever owned this was a serious record collector. And then some other day I picked up this small stack of records. So the first one is a 3-record set. This is Mellow Gold. So this record has a whole bunch of really cool stuff from like the late 60s, early 70s. So it's a whole bunch of really good stuff. I primarily picked this up because it has the song Hello It's Me by Todd Rundgren. And it also has Baby I'm Yours by Barbara Lewis. Everybody's Talking by Harry Nilsson. Just a whole bunch of really cool songs. So I was like, this was a no-brainer to pick up. Next, I picked up another copy of City to City by Jerry Rafferty. Next, I picked this up because it looked interesting. It's a Buenos Aires 8. It's an Argentinian band. Then I picked up Creedence Clearwater Revival Chronicles, their 20 greatest hits. I have a whole bunch of CCR albums, but I'm missing the one that has a song, Have You Ever Seen the Rain? And this one had it, so I picked this up because of that. Oh, and of course, all the other songs on there too. This next stack is like the most recent records I had found. This first one is a disco album, but it has a disco single, and it's 2 Pink Floyd songs. It has Money and Have a Cigar, but they're like disco versions by the artist Rosebud. So this one was pretty cool. I found Donovan's Greatest Hits. I found a Dolly Parton record. I found New Harvest First Gathering. And then I found this movie soundtrack of a movie I have never seen before, but it's from the 80s, and it's the movie Times Square. And I mostly picked it up because I recognize the song Life During Wartime by Talking Heads, as well as Same Old Scene by Roxy Music. I love those two songs, so I thought it was a good pickup. And then some other day, I got these at a Goodwill. I found Days of Future Past by the Moody Blues. It's got the classic Nights in White Satin. Then I found Disco Nights by GQ. Pretty cool looking and sounds good too. I got Still Crazy After All These Years by Paul Simon. Then I found this compilation of a whole bunch of artists. I believe this is like from the late 60s to 70s, but it's the 1969 Warner/Reprise songbook, 25 different acts, 40 selections, old and new. And it has artists like Joni Mitchell, Van Morrison, The Kink, The Electric Prunes, Tiny Tim, The Mothers of Invention. So a whole bunch of really cool stuff. And then I found a picture disc. I was actually gonna leave this because I'm not too like crazy about the music. It's Liberace, but it's a picture disc of him with a piano around him. And I just grabbed it because it looked cool. And this last little stack of records I got all in one trip. I found Shoes, Presents, Tense. This is a power pop album. I actually really love this. I actually have a copy of this already, but I wanted to get another copy. I couldn't leave it behind. Then I found Cuckoo by Debbie Harry. I found Incense and Peppermints by the Strawberry Alarm Clock. Very beat up record, but actually sounds pretty good. But the cover has been through it. And then I got this. I primarily got this for the album artwork. I thought it looked cool, but it also has cool songs on there. K-Tel did a whole bunch of compilation albums, but this is a Ronco Presents Get It On 20 original artists. For the compilations, I always pick them up if I see a song I like or a couple songs I like on here. I think I picked this up because I had the Ohio Players, Barry White, the OJs, Drift Away by Dobby Gray. Is that how you pronounce his name? Dobby Gray. So those were all my Goodwill finds of the year. My Goodwill prices records at $2, so I think these were $2 each. Next, we're gonna go through all the records I got at garage sales, estate sales, and places like that. I go every weekend, so there's a lot of those. So I got these first two. I got these at a garage sale. This garage sale had the craziest collection of CDs. I picked up so many, and actually made a video of that here on YouTube that you can find on my page. I'll link it up here. I go through all my finds, but at that house, they actually had a very small stack of records. So I only found two. So the first one I found is If You Knew by Suzi Quatro. And then I found 10cc, the original soundtrack. So I picked these two up because they have very classic tracks on here. This one has Stumbling In, and this one has I'm Not in Love. And I've been meaning to add those to my collection. I really want to play them on vinyl. So I'm very glad I found these. These were $1 each. Then another weekend, I went to another garage sale, and this garage sale had quite a few CDs that I did pick up. And they had a very sizable crate of records, but I only picked up 2 records. And the first one is Bay City Rollers Dedication. I primarily picked this up because they did the cover of the song I Only Want to Be With You. I had made a video about this song previously over on Instagram, talking about the song that's originally sung by Dusty Springfield, which I have on vinyl. And I was talking about how Spanish-speaking artist Luis Miguel did a cover or like an interpretation of that song in Spanish, which is very popular, called Ahora Te Puedes Marchar. And I wanted to pick this up because they did a cover of that song. And if I ever find the tourist cover of that song, I would really like to pick that one up. It's Annie Lennox's band from like the 1970s. So that's all about that. And then I picked up a K-Tel compilation album. Like I said, I like picking these up because I think they look cool. They don't sound the greatest, but I always pick them up because they either have a cool song I want in the back. So the reason I picked this one up because it has the song Moonlight Feels Right by Starbuck, and it has Baby Come Back by Player. 2 bangers. This next stack is from a different sale. This one, they had a crazy record collection. And of course, a lot of like the very popular names were super duper crazy expensive. Like all the records that were Michael Jackson, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones are like $20+. So all the records that didn't have a price were $5 each. So I ended up picking up 4, and these are in perfect condition. So the first record I got was the Kinks' Greatest Hits. I did not have any of the Kinks in my record collection, so I thought this was the perfect first edition. I love all the songs on this. So these next couple of records are records I picked up to check out. Like, check out what they sound. They were very inexpensive, so I thought it was a perfect opportunity to listen to some new stuff. The way I pick up records I'm not familiar with is usually because they look cool, like the album cover looks cool, or because I see them posted about on the internet. Like, I post on Instagram, so I follow a whole bunch of people who post vinyl records on Instagram. It's like a good way to see different albums that people are into or artists, so that's why I pick these ones up. This first one is a very expensive record, and I can't believe it was still there when I looked through the records, because like 20 people had already looked through these records before me. So I picked up Pharoah Sanders' Jewels of Thought, some jazz. It's like freaking an original copy, and I got this for $5, which I think is pretty crazy if you know how much this is worth. Then I picked up this one because I'm familiar with the Yardbirds, but this is Sonny Boy Williamson and the Yardbirds, and this is pretty cool. I really enjoyed this. Next, I picked up this one because it looked very interesting, and it's Pleasant Afternoon by Charlie Earland. And I really enjoyed this one as well. These next ones, I got a community garage sale that happens every year. So these first two that I'm gonna share, it's like this house that always sells records. They're like a big record collector. So I picked up Labor of Love by UB40. This is a German pressing, and I believe I got this for like $3. So yeah, picked this one up. And then for $1, I got the Stereo Test record by Realistic. I like picking up stereo test records all the time, especially if they look cool, and I thought this one looked pretty cool. So for $1, couldn't pass it up. And then these next two, it's a different house that always has CDs, but this year they like got flooded and the CDs were ruined, and they had some vinyl, but a lot of it was messed up. But I did end up picking up the American Gigolo soundtrack. It's music by Giorgio Moroder, and the theme song is Call Me by Blondie. So this is a pretty good find. I think that was $1, and this one was also $1. This is Harry Nilsson's The Point. It unfortunately doesn't have like the little picture book, but still got the record. This next haul are records I've already shared over on Instagram, but I got these for $2 each. I finally added Pet Shop Boys to my collection. I found Pet Shop Boys Actually, and I've been spinning this a lot this past year. I also found the maxi single of Always on My Mind by Pet Shop Boys. Then this one I was super duper excited to find. This is the Communards. This is Jimmy Somerville's other band. He's the guy from Bronxy Beat. This of course has like his like big hit Don't Leave Me This Way, but I love the song Disenchanted, and it's on here. So I was so happy. And speaking of Don't Leave Me This Way, I found the maxi single of it. Pretty cool. Then I found this 90s DJ record in green. And I found Santa Esmeralda starring Leroy Gomez. It's like disco salsa record. I found Inside Story by Grace Jones. I found 2 ABBA records. I got Super Trooper. This was actually super water damaged. I actually randomly had the sleeve of this record, so I just switched it out. So now I have a Super Trooper. But unfortunately, I did not have a sleeve for Arrival. It's all water damaged. So in my whole collection of ABBA, I did not have the song Dancing Queen on vinyl. So now I did, so I couldn't leave it behind. Then I picked up another copy of Spring Session M by Missing Persons. I freaking love this album. And I picked up another copy of The Long Distance Voyager by The Moody Blues. Next, I went to like this house that had pretty like not very interesting records, but I did pick up these Famous Ghost Stories record. It's just a whole bunch of scary, spooky stories being narrated, as well as this Alfred Hitchcock Presents Ghost Stories for Young People. And I also picked up Casper, the Friendly Ghost, and I believe these were like $1 or $2 each. Then a different day, I went to this place that had like these crazy vintage clothes. While everybody was looking at the vintage clothes, I was looking at the records. So these records were $2 each. So the first one I found is The Silver Sounds of the Surf by Dick Dale. I thought it looked really cool, so I picked it up, and lo and behold, I looked it up on Discogs, and this is really expensive, so it was a good find. Very cool. I think it looks so cool. Pretty cool album cover. I picked up some Javier Solis. This is Un Año Más Sin Ti. Endless Boogie by John Lee Hooker. Trio Los Panchos, their hits. And then I got 2 sealed records, which I'm surprised I have not opened yet. I found Diana Ross's album, self-titled, and this is Share, a compilation album. And to those who are going to comment, they do not look warped at all. So these next ones are a big 80 stack of records that I got. These ones were differing in prices. I think the most expensive record was the first one that I'm going to share, which was $8, but all the other ones were like less than $5. So the first one I found is Madness, One Step Beyond. This one I was super duper excited to find. Great addition. Next I got Invisible Silence by Art of Noise. I got 2 Laurie Anderson records. First I got Big Science. Then I got Mr. Heartbreak. Next I got another copy of one of my favorite albums of all time from the 80s and one of my favorite songs of the 80s. I got General Public, All the Rage. I freaking love Tenderness like crazy, and I love Never You Done That, so I had to pick up another copy, and this one's in much better condition than the one I already owned. The next one I picked up just because of the album artwork. It looked very interesting. This is Positive Noise, Change of Heart. It's on Sire Records, and Sire Records have never let me down. I always love anything off of that label, so I thought it was a perfect pickup, and I really enjoyed listening to this. Next I got Up and Down by Opus. It has that song called Live His Life, or wait, Live His Life? What does that even mean? But so I picked this up because when I started posting on social media, I would get so many comments about people asking me to play this song, so I eventually found it, so I was like, why not get it? Next, I found Chaka Khan's album, I Feel For You. I got Hundreds and Thousands by Bronxky Beat. It's like a remix album. I got also Close to the Bone by Thompson Twins. So these next stack of records are pretty good. I got these for $3 each, except a few were priced separately. And in this haul, I picked up some things that I wasn't too familiar with but seemed cool, which is quite a lot of these, especially like in the jazz genre. So the first album I found was this The Beatles White Album, but it's actually Los Beatles because this is an Argentinian press and it's numbered on the bottom. It's 4,780. And what's pretty interesting about this record, like why does it look like this? It's because this was I realized that this record was a library copy that somebody never returned. And it's actually in pretty good condition, so they must have taken this right when it was put out. Next, for some jazz artists and albums that people really enjoy and I haven't gotten into or I'm trying to dip my foot into it. But with these records, I think I like jumped into the deep end because the first record is Miles Davis Brew. Pretty cool find. Then I found some John Coltrane. I found Coltrane, just Coltrane on impulse. Very cool. Another John Coltrane album, I found Lush Life. Those for $3, pretty crazy. These next two are by Astrid Gilberto. The Shadow of Your Smile and Look to the Rainbow. I really enjoyed this one. This is Conjunto Acapulco Tropical. Very cool. The song Agüita de Limón, pretty cool sounding. I got Baden Powell. This is an Argentinian pressing, but of course it is Brazilian. I also got another Baden Powell. I'm really gonna mispronounce this, but it's Vinicius de Moraes? Afro Samba. I really enjoyed this one. I have Passing Through, the new Amazing Chico Hamilton Quintet. I found Sunny Inner Views. I got Buffy St. Marie, Firefleet, and Candlelight. This Guess Who compilation, and Perez Prado Mambo Discos de Oro. And I forgot to add to that previous stack, I also found Gets Gilberto 2. Then this next stack, each record I got in a different place, so they're not all together. So the first one is U2 Another Time, Another Place live at the Marquee, London 1980. It's a 10-inch record, and it's of the early stuff, and I really enjoyed the early U2, so very cool find. Dollar find. Next, for $1, I got Bacchanal by Gaber Szabo. Some guitar. Very cool record. This one was pretty crazy. I went to this garage sale, and all the records that they had there were country music, but I still decided to look through them, and randomly in between I found Phantasmagoria by The Damned. So I got this for $2. Very cool. I love this album. Then for $1, I got the soundtrack for Dream a Little Dream. I mostly picked this up because it had the song, It's the End of the World as We Know It, and I Feel Fine by REM. For $2, I got some rock en español. This was actually sealed, brand new. It's El Tri, Simplemente, classic. Then this one, I wasn't too familiar when I picked it up. This is an album by Anthony Armstrong Jones. It's signed by him, and he does covers in this, and I'm pretty sure he does a cover of Proud to Marry. Very interesting. Then I found some crazy cassettes, and I found one record there. I found, the name is Bootsy Baby by Bootsy Collins. Then another place, I found Simple Minds, Sparkle in the Rain. And before that copy of Gets Gilberto #2 that I found another Gets Gilberto #2. Then I got this really cool 3-piece set of the Mexican icon Pedro Infante. Very cool find. These next 3 records were gifts by people I'm friends with over on Instagram. So I got David Bowie, The Rise and Star of Ziggy Stardust, and this was sent to me by my friend Retro Digs. This was sent to me by Zoe's Record Club. She sent me my first Soda Stereo album, and it is their self-titled album. Metzger's Vintage Audio sent me Nevermind the Bollocks. Here's the Sex Pistols, and I'm extremely grateful for these 3 records that I was sent. I almost left out this big stack of records I got at another place, and this was all Spanish-speaking artists. So I got Vicente Fernandez, Hits, Juan Gabriel, Cosas de Enamorados, Rocío Dúrcal, Canta lo Romántico de Juan Gabriel. I got some Edie Gourmet and the Trio Los Panchos. This one's that one, and then this one's more. I got Trio Los Tajuarines. I got Vicky Carr singing in Spanish. And then these are a whole bunch of different compilations of like mariachi music. A big 3 record set, 2 of that. And now these are some more miscellaneous records. This one I actually bought on eBay. It's a whole bunch of Spanish speaking artists. I primarily got this for Los Bukis and the band Flans. I ended up playing Tu Cárcel by Los Bukis on Valentine's Day 2024, so you can check that out over on my Instagram. Then I went to one of my local record stores called Reanimated Records here in La Mesa, and I picked up one of my favorite albums of all time and one of my favorite 90s bands, The Magnetic Fields. This is The Charm of the Highway Strip. Then for my birthday last year, I got Louder Than Bombs by The Smiths at my local record store, Vinyl Junkies. And then I got very recent album from 2020. I got The New Abnormal by The Strokes. And then in November, I got to see Empire of the Sun live at the Hollywood Bowl. And the day after, I got to go to Amoeba Music for the first time, and I picked up 2 things. The first record I picked up is Walking on a Dream by Empire of the Sun. I thought this was perfect because I literally had just seen them live the day before. And I picked up an album that I had been looking for a very long time, and it is Ministry with Sympathy. This is a must-have if you're a new wave / synth pop lover. So those were technically all the records when I was planning to make this video. These are the records I had in mind, but I totally forgot about this huge stack of records. Let me show you. So this massive stack of records, I totally forgot I got these right at the beginning of 2024, and these were all Taiwanese bootlegs. I found these all at Goodwill. It was a crazy Goodwill haul. Of course, these are bootlegs, so they don't sound the greatest, but I just thought they were so cool, so I had to pick them up. But since this is a lot and the video's already too long, I won't go through every single one, but it was a lot of like Soul, The Supremes, Stylistics, Smokey Robinson, and a whole bunch of like different compilations. So if you would like a video just on these, please let me know if you're interested. But yeah, those were all the records I got in 2024. It's a lot, but I'm so happy I got to add these to my collection. So that was the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like. And if you would like to see more of me, make sure to subscribe. And of course, if you would like to see more of me, I post regularly on Instagram and TikTok, so definitely go check those out. So thank you so much for watching.